Well, really the idea was that I wanted to create a game where you play an instrument. And in looking at the other music games that are out there right now, I found that those felt more like you were trying to match a rhythm rather than trying to play an instrument. I also wanted to create a song in which you performed with members of your family. And so in trying to think of how you would create that experience, we came up with a variety of ideas. It's very easy to imitate playing an instrument, but it's very difficult to actually play an instrument. And so we tried to think of a way to allow people to play by just pretending that they're playing. The first thing that we did was we came up with this idea that for people who can't play instruments, probably one of the bigger worries that they have is, if I'm trying to play an instrument, what am I going to do if I play the wrong note? And so we kind of thought about this and thought that if we could come up with a means for the software to support essentially the player in what they're unable to do, which is play the correct note, then we could create a game where people can pretend to be playing an instrument and in the process create the music that they're trying to create. I kind of look at it almost as a music creation tool. So with that in mind, we really from the beginning do have quite a wide variety of instruments for people to play. The game itself has 60 different instruments that will be available in it. And of course, we're still in the process of finalizing the game. So as we go into the polishing stages, we may be fine-tuning some of those and making adjustments. And so the idea is that we want people to be able to play freely from the start. One thing we did recently was we did some focus testing with younger kids to see how they responded to it. And what we found was that not only did they like the game, but they actually couldn't really put it down. And so we were really happy to see such a positive response from them, and are looking forward to seeing how that plays out in the home, and seeing mothers watching their kids playing music and picking up and joining in and playing with them. The game will feature about 50 different songs, but what's unique about this game is that with those songs, you can perform them as you would expect the song to be performed, the way that you're used to hearing it, or you can perform it however you want. And so you can go in and you can change up the pacing of your performance, or you can play notes maybe when notes normally wouldn't be heard, and in that process create a unique version of that song that maybe you wouldn't hear before. And so that, I think, is going to be a very important element that's going to attract a lot of people. Well, of course, a Wii Sports game that's just connected to Nintendo Wi-Fi connection is something that would be very easy for us to put together and make at any time. But in actuality, in planning Wii Sports, there were a number of different activities that we wanted to include. But what we found was that the capabilities of the Wii Remote, which are very well suited to detecting and tracking large motions, are not so good at the more subtle motions. And so we found that there were a number of different sports-like activities that we had been looking at that we couldn't execute as well as we'd hoped. And so because of that, we thought that first it was more important to release a Wii Sports game, and particularly the technology of the Wii Motion Plus, to kind of broaden the capabilities of what the Wii Remote can do, and to be able to bring some of those ideas to life. But who knows, maybe because there have been so many requests for an online Wii Sports, that maybe after we do Wii Sports Resort, that might be the next thing that we look at. We've also, from licensees, heard of a number of different ideas that they've had for games that have needed some of that more subtle motion detection capability in order to execute on. And so we felt it was very important to create the Wii Motion Plus and really kind of be a trailblazer and show what it's capable of through a game like Wii Sports Resort. And then from that, we expect that a lot of those third-party ideas can then come to life, and probably new ideas can also come to fruition as well. If you try to imagine what you can do at a resort, there are a number of different things that you could potentially choose from, but our vision for Wii Sports Resort is to have upwards of 10, maybe a few more activities in there. When I focus on making a game, I'm really focused on the audience. And one of the key things that I was thinking was, if we're here and we're making these games, isn't it going to be just a lot more fun for everyone, for us, for the people playing them, if they're being played by a much broader audience? so that rather than having video games played only by a small specific segment of the market, the people who are playing it can then play a game and maybe go home for the holidays and see somebody and they are familiar with the game that they've been playing, and it's just a much broader part of life. And so in my mind, I'm always focused more on really the end user and not so much on the other game developers. I'm sure there would probably be at least a little this year.